Welcome to the deep dive. This is your shortcut to getting, well, instantly smart on what's happening. You gave us this massive technical news roundup from October 17th, 2025. Seriously, it's a lot. Enough to make your head spin.
Oh.
But we've gone through it for you. We're pulling out the key stuff, the surprises, and the things you can actually use right now.
Yeah, it's quite the list. We're hitting 8 major areas today. I think Azure, M365, security, AI, research, the works. And look, our mission isn't just to list things off. It's to tell you why this stuff matters, how it fits into the bigger picture for you, so you feel genuinely clued in without reading for days.
Okay, then, let's unpack this roadmap. We're better to start than where the big bucks are spent, Azure and the cloud.
Right, and what's fascinating in cloud right now is this...
Yeah.
This balance, between keeping things stable and reliable and then pushing the absolute limits with AI.
Exactly. We see sources talking about stability, maintenance, stuff like the Windows hot patch overview. Is that just like routine admin stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Or does hot patching becoming available signal something more strategic?
Oh, that's a great point. It's actually pretty strategic. It signals maturity, platform stability, and honestly, cost savings for you. Hot patch means you can push critical security updates to your Windows Server Azure Edition VMs without a reboot. Think about that. Zero downtime for key apps. It sounds maybe a bit boring, but operationally, that saves a ton of hassle and money, keeps things running smooth.
Okay, so stability is one side. Then you swing way over to the other extreme, Sora 2. Immediately available in Azure AI Foundry. That's not boring.
Not at all. That completely flips the script. Sora, if you haven't seen the demos, it's OpenAI's model for generating incredibly realistic video.
Yeah.
Jaw-droppingly good. Putting that straight into Azure AI Foundry. It gives cloud users immediate access to absolutely cutting-edge AI. It basically makes Azure a top-tier platform for, serious content creation, media studios, that kind of thing.
And sometimes the best tools are hiding in plain sight, right? The source called ACA Dynamic Sessions, the best Azure service you've never heard of. Why? What's the big deal with Azure Container Apps having dynamic sessions?
Okay, so ACA, Azure Container Apps. That's the serverless way to run containers without messing with infrastructure. Super useful. Dynamic sessions tackle that classic serverless headache, the cold start. When you get a sudden burst of traffic or processing needs, dynamic sessions let capacity spin up instantly, scale like crazy, and then just vanish when done. You only pay for exactly what you use. And that specific feature. It's apparently key for accelerating open source AI infrastructure development. Very cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So from efficient infrastructure, let's move into the daily grind. Microsoft 365, if Azure's the bedrock, Copilot feels like the smart layer on top of everything now.
That's a good way to put it. Total integration seems to be the goal. The newsfeed is packed with new stuff, 10 new W features in Microsoft 365 Copilot, specific app demos like managing teams with it. It's definitely being positioned as essential for getting work done.
But the piece that really jumped out at me, technically speaking, was Copilot rolling out on Windows. Specifically, the settings support for insiders. When Copilot can start tweaking system settings, it's not just an app anymore, is it? It's becoming part of the OS core.
Precisely. And that move. It means security becomes absolutely paramount, which is why you see those resources popping up about securing endpoint devices in M365 and Intune. They have to go hand in hand. As AI gets deeper into the operating system, the potential attack surface grows. Security can't be an afterthought. It needs to be foundational.
Speaking of foundational changes, let's look at Power Platform and Dynamics 365. Feels like AI is really reshaping the development tools themselves now, kind of democratizing things with low code.
Yeah, democratization is the word. The core strategy is clearly embedding AI everywhere, making it usable for pros and citizen developers. That push to explore new AI innovation for Dynamics 365, Power Platform, and Copilot Studio. It just hammers home that idea. Low-code, high-intelligence tools are the future here.
And it's not just top-down, is it? The sources mentioned efforts to get customer feedback on data connectivity in Power BI and Microsoft Fabric. I saw the Power BI October feature summary mentioned too. That suggests they're listening more closely to users, especially around how people actually access their data.
Right. And what I personally appreciate are those maybe smaller seeming quality of life things for the pro devs who do use these platforms. Like being able to seamlessly open VS Code Desktop right from the Power Pages web version of VS Code. That removes a real friction point. It acknowledges the pros while still pushing the low-code world forward. It's smart.
Okay, let's shift gears again. DevOps, SRE infrastructure. This is where the code gets built and scaled. And AI is getting involved here too, right? Like generating test suites.
Yeah, that was interesting. Generate a test suite with GitHub Copilot and PDD. PDD, prompt-driven development. It's a workflow where you're basically telling an LLM what code you need, often in plain English, and it generates it. Now, using that same approach to generate the tests for the code, maybe even code the AI also wrote, that could massively speed up QA.
Okay, but hang on. If the AI writes the code and then the AI writes the tests, isn't there a risk? Like it might just test for things it knows it does well and miss the kind of errors a human might make, or inherent biases.
That is the critical question everyone's grappling with in QA right now. Yes, the risk is absolutely real, but the speed benefit is huge. The thinking is the human developer's role changes. Less writing boilerplate tests, more validating what the AI produced, designing tests specifically to poke at the AI's blind spots. You become less of a pure coder, more of a prompt engineer and an AI auditor. It's a skill shift.
That complexity makes the fundamentals even more vital, though. That piece on how to scale like a senior engineer really hammered home the basics, like avoiding SBOFs.
Single points of failure. Yes. The classic 3 a.m. nightmare for anyone in ops. Doesn't matter how fancy your AI is, if one database or load balancer goes down and takes the whole system with it, game over. Reliable scaling still comes down to thoughtful design. Distributing load across servers, databases, LBs, redundancy, the fundamentals never go away.
And even the tools themselves evolve. We saw VS Code Live v1.105 released and talk about building agent memory for VS Code. The IDE isn't just a text editor anymore. It's starting to remember context, act more like a partner.
Okay, so from building applications, let's get into something deeper. Fundamental science and really advanced data handling. Data, analytics, and AI. This section had some really interesting bits, like tucked away in the research updates. Density functional theory, Microsoft research project.
Right, I saw that. And I have to ask, density to functional theory, why is Microsoft, a software company, messing with quantum mechanical modeling? What even is DFT for the rest of us?
Haha, fair question. DFT is, well, it's a heavy-duty computational method. Comes from physics and chemistry. It's used to figure out the electronic structure of materials at a really fundamental quantum level. Why Microsoft cares? Because DFT simulations require massive computing power, exactly what cloud providers have. And these simulations are crucial for huge breakthroughs. Discovering new materials, designing better drugs, developing quantum computers. By investing here, Microsoft isn't just playing with chatbots. They're signaling a long-term vision, using their cloud and AI scale to crack fundamental scientific problems. It underpins the next generation of tech.
Wow, okay, that puts their AI strategy in a whole different light. It's not just products, it's fundamental research. Back on the practical side for data pros, though, there's still a big focus on Microsoft Fabric.
Oh, absolutely. The amount of detailed guidance coming out, like that ultimate guide to real-time intelligence or specifics on case sensitivity in Fabric warehouses, it shows Fabric is maturing fast. If you're a data professional, you really need to be getting your head around Fabric now. It's becoming central to the enterprise data story on Azure.
And one more thing in this section caught my eye. Building pure Python web apps with Reflex. Why is a Python web framework popping up here?
Reflex is interesting because it lets you build web UIs entirely in Python without needing JavaScript. Think about data scientists or back-end devs who live in Python. This potentially lowers the barrier for them to build full-stack apps themselves. It's another example of trying to boost developer efficiency.
Okay, efficiency is great, but useless if it's not secure. Let's turn to the really critical domain, security, compliance, and privacy. Everything we've talked about, AI, cloud, dev tools, it all relies on strong defenses. And the Security Copilot seems central here. We need to talk SCUs.
Yes. That demystifying SCU's deep dive in AMA for Security Copilot. That's mandatory reading for security teams using Microsoft tech. SCU stands for Microsoft Security Compute Unit. And you need to understand it because it's the basic unit you buy, you provision, to run the AI workloads in Security Copilot.
So it's not just jargon, it's the direct link between your budget, your operational capacity, and how much AI security power you actually have.
Exactly that. It determines your bill, sure, but more importantly, it dictates how much computational muscle your security team has for AI-powered threat detection, analysis, response, in real time. Getting your SCU provisioning right is a major strategic decision. It directly impacts your security effectiveness.
And that operational side leads to tactics. The source is compared using logic apps versus Security Copilot agents for threat response. Seems like we're moving to a hybrid world, traditional automation plus AI agents.
Definitely. But tools are only part of it. That CISO conversations piece had a pretty stark statistic. 57% of incidents have never been rehearsed. 57%. You can have all the fancy AI and SCUs you want, but if your human team hasn't practiced responding, the tech won't save you when things go sideways. It's a huge wake-up call for CISOs to rethink how they do tabletop exercises, how they really prepare, and the basics still matter intensely, which is why we also saw that guide on Microsoft Privileged Access Workstations pause. Securing admin access is always step one.
It feels like every path leads back to AI somehow. Which brings us to learning and certifications. How are people supposed to keep up and learn all this new tooling?
Well, what really stands out in the learning resources is the push for accessibility, making AI usable for everyone, not just hardcore coders. Look at guides like How to Build an AI Agent with Microsoft 365 Copilot no-code guide. The emphasis is on getting value quickly without needing a deep programming background.
And Copilot Studio seems to be the main place for customizing this stuff. Lots of guides, beginner videos.
Right. That seems to be the central hub for building and tweaking copilots. But again, while the AI tools get easier, the underlying infrastructure still needs experts. We saw resources on Flatcar Linux. That's an OS built for stable, always-on container infrastructure. It's the foundation. And there was that tutorial on practical MCP with fast MCP in Python. MCP, the Model Context Protocol, is important. It's an open standard for letting AI agents access external tools and data, crucial for making agents truly useful.
Okay, let's zoom out for the final segment. Industry news and trends. What are the big waves shaping the tech landscape right now?
Well, competition is fierce. No surprise there. One big move. Microsoft AI announces first image generator created in-house. That's significant. It signals they're not just relying on partners like OpenAI anymore. They want their own proprietary generative models for defense, for market differentiation. It's a big strategic play.
And they're using that tech to shake things up immediately, it seems. That headline about Echelon's AI agents take aim at Accenture and Deloitte consulting models, AI going straight for the heart of professional services.
Exactly. It shows consulting is a prime target for AI-driven disruption and efficiency. Huge implications for that entire industry. Then, on a much longer timescale, but incredibly important, why Signal's post-quantum makeover is an amazing engineering achievement. This is about future-proofing encryption against quantum computers. It's deep, complex work, defending against the very quantum advancements that research like DFT, which we mentioned earlier, is helping enable. Foundational security for the long haul. And finally, tying AI to finance, that LSEG and Microsoft partnership to transform access to AI-ready financial data shows AI's immediate impact on big money markets.
So let's try and tie this all together. We've bounced from quantum physics to no-code app building. What's the core thread?
If you connect all the dots,
Yeah.
from the deep science like DFT to the developer tools like PDD and Copilot Studio to the security units like SCUs, the absolute undeniable takeaway is the total integration of AI. It's not just a feature anymore. It's becoming the operating system, the development partner, the infrastructure manager, even the scientific researcher. It's embedding itself into every single layer.
Right. Well, you've just had a whirlwind tour of the tech landscape for the week of October 17th. Hopefully you're feeling thoroughly up to date.
So here's something to chew on. What stands out most to you? With Microsoft now creating its own image generators and tools like Sora 2 readily available in the cloud, does this make compliance tools like Microsoft Purview suddenly outdated? Or does this explosion of AI-generated content make robust governance and compliance more critical than ever before?
Something to think about. Until next time, keep digging deeper.